Hello, my name is Maria Fernanda Arango, and today I'm going to be presenting my research proposal and action plan model. The title of my research project is Metacognition Development through Collaborative Practices in Academic Writing from a Critical Literacies Perspective. Now, my presentation is divided into 7 parts. First, the determination of the research problem, and finally, the details of the action plan model. So the hybrid research problem is divided into 3 main components, which is collaboration in academic writing, metacognition, and a critical literacies approach. Now, all of these 3 main components are studied in the field of EAL, English as an Additional Language. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, we can determine that there is a lack of resources in Colombian education, and there is a stressed importance on the development of students' self-confidence and autonomy. Now, in order to be able to do so, students need to have metacognitive learning strategies in order to become bilingual or autonomous citizens. And also, it is important to note that the importance of metacognition and autonomy is stipulated in the Lineamientos Curriculares and in the General Law of Education of 1994. Now, there is a wide body of research, but I've decided to focus on 8 research antecedents. 2 of them are national investigation projects, and the other 6 are international antecedents. And they investigate academic writing, metacognition, or a mix of both. Now, I've selected the interpretative constructivist paradigm because it has an ontological perspective that views reality as an intersubjective construction. And at the same time, it recognizes that knowledge is dependent on observation and that it is something that is developed and constructed between individuals. So it's not something that is just built by one person or by one institution. And also it aligns with the purpose of my research, which is based on interpretation and inductive understanding. And at the same time, the methodology that I have determined is field immersion and interaction. So the research question can be determined as follows, which integrates, as I mentioned, the 3 main components: collaborative practices in academic writing, metacognition, and critical literacies approach. And the project title follows directly from the research question, as mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Now, the general objective would be to appraise how this collaboration from a critical literacies approach affects the development of metacognition in EAL students. Now, in order to be able to answer this objective, I have determined the 3 following specific objectives. First, to identify the collaborative practices. Second, to associate the critical literacies approach to these practices. And the third, to examine how this academic practices aid in the development of metacognition. Now, the research methodology has been determined as a case study research. I would also complement this with ethnographic and narrative inquiry methods. So the action plan model at this stage of the project has been determined as follows. Based on the 3 specific objectives that have been determined, I would have a mix of observation, pedagogical interventions, interactive techniques, and the use of a strategy inventory of language learning devised by Oxford in 1990. So these would be the strategies, and the research would go from November 2021 up till May 2022. The participants would be university students. However, I am considering the possibility of also including high school students. And this would give us the ability to use the following instruments, ranging from writing samples to research diaries, which would be a constant instrument throughout the entire investigation, and including the results from the SIL questionnaires and any students' answers to the questionnaires provided during the interactive techniques. Thank you very much. These are my references that I use for the research antecedents and for the elaboration of this presentation. If you have any questions or feedback, I would be more than glad to answer them. Thank you very much.